After applying the glue gun, the cardboard is meant to be in between two parts of the material. I'm going to seal that up using my glue gun. So this gray panel ended up being exactly what I would need to actually make the container that would house all of my accessories for the said vacuum cleaner. So on one side, on one half, I applied the cardboard and figured out where I want to use the belt side to attach the hose. And then I go from there and I make sure that I have allowance to be able to, one, close the bag, and also for the future, put a handle on I want to be able to totally adjust this hose, and that way I can coil it as tight as I want to allow me to put the other attachments on. So when I say that I want to put just a spot of glue here, I'm going to do it along here, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's even okay if some seeps through. It's okay. This part is totally covered anyway. Now that this has been glued just enough to tack it down, I'm gonna take the hose off, and then now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my glue gun to totally glue this here to here. Okay, I'm not gonna go all the way to the buckle because I need this to pop through the other side of the fabric. Okay, do that there, and then I'm gonna put this in place here. Okay, now this is where I really needed the high heat, to be honest, because I'm attaching these two different types of fabric or materials together, and I want it to really stick together. That being said, I'm gonna turn my glue gun off for the time being because I'm in the figuring out, stage of my project. Sometimes that takes a little time, and that can really take your glue guns through the ringer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn it off. And when I know I got what I need to do next, or when I know what I'm gonna do next, I'll just turn it back on. There was a box within the box for the vacuum cleaner that actually held the wand there, the metal part, that I'm actually going to repurpose and use in this project as well. You'll see a little later.
Now I need to figure out where I'm going to place my elastic bands in the slots for the belt to come through.
So if I imagine the hose is going to be looped like that, I imagine that I would put one loop for this attachment, and then these two, I'm going to keep them in the bags for right now for the other two attachments. I just need to figure out how much elastic that I need for those things. When I flap this other panel over, I'm going to make these slits for this part of the belt to come through. And if you can see, I actually went down to right here I applied the glue to right here. However, for this part, I left the elastic part of the belt untouched with the glue, okay? It's for a reason, is that I want some wiggle room when I'm adjusting and when I'm applying or attaching the actual flexible hose. Since it's flexible, it allows me to get it as tight as I need it onto the actual. I'm just gonna flip the fabric back over this first panel, and then I have my sewing chalk out, and I'm gonna make a slot where I'm going to cut open the hole for this buckle to come. Okay, you guys, so if you can see, here's the buckle right here, okay? Okay, so I don't know if you can kind of see the outline of the buckle. It's kind of raised a little bit here. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a chalk line right here, okay? There I have my chalk line here. Now for the other part, I'm not going to go to the end. I'm gonna do my chalk line where this stops, where the elastic meets the leather-like fabric on the belt. With me aligning both ends, here's the end where the buckle is, and here's the end where the middle part of the belt meets the elastic. Okay, so where I feel where the rigid part of the belt is meeting the elastic, I'm just gonna go ahead and make my line right there. Now, what I'm gonna do reverse. What I'm gonna do next is I'm actually going to go over this with glue
because this fabric frays very easily.
So before I make my cutout, I really want to make sure I have like a good, I turn my glue gun on again, and it is on hot so that it will kind of permeate through the fibers of this material. Now I'm kind of acting as though this is a zipper foot and I'm making a buttonhole. Don't worry about that. Again, you guys, this is serving a purpose for me. I am kind of sealing that red in there, but I really don't care. This is going to be cut, and you're really probably not going to see this a whole lot. I'm going to do the same thing on this end. I'm kind of going on the outside of the buttonhole. We're just going to call it that for lack of other words. Okay, you guys, so now what I'm going to do is I am just going to, almost like you would do a buttonhole, I'm just going to go ahead and make a slit there. I cannot close this up because I'm not finished doing the other Velcro and for the other attachments. But see, when I use that as a guide, this comes right through, and then this Velcro part of the belt or elastic part of the belt allows me to adjust as I need to actually strap in the hose. Now I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the same thing that I did for the end of the belt as I am going to do for the part where the buckle is. And the actual glue from the glue gun just kind of allows me to be able to not have to worry about it unraveling, or to the part where it will, that will kind of be like a fray stopper, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to take this out and not pull it all the way through because I still have to do the other attachments or the other bands, if you will, that will hold the other two attachments. And remember, the actual floor attachment, because it's so big, I'm not sure that I'm going to put it here. I might just put it on the outside of the bag, but I have to figure that one out.
Now that I figured out the biggest part are the accessories to this vacuum cleaner, the flexible hose. Now the smaller attachments will just be nestled inside. Once I figure out those exact placements, I can go ahead and add the Velcro straps, which will hold those in place. My bad, you guys. I searched through the content to find the part where I actually cut the slits, but to no avail. But you get the gist, I think.
Okay, and to make it easier, you guys, once I cut that slit on top, this lets me know where to affix my Velcro once I turn this over. Velcro, which I have misplaced. It's probably sticking on the fabric. Let me find it. Okay, so I wanted to demonstrate to you guys. You guys, let me put my glue down here so I can show you. You want to make sure that you are attaching one non-functioning side of the Velcro down. This flat, smooth side is in the fuzzy side, and it is not the little hard loops where you attach your Velcro to, okay? But on the opposite side, you're actually going to attach it with the functioning side onto the glue. This is what I'm gonna do right here. I know it's gonna look wrong, but oops, doing it the wrong way. So I'm just gonna quickly demonstrate to you guys what I mean by that. You need it to go one in the right direction, and one where you affix to the smooth side, and one you actually affix the functioning side, just a little tab, so that once you roll this over, see how it actually meets with the functioning side. I used way much more than what I needed, but down the road I might do something else, so I gave myself more than what I needed.
I'm going to make 2 of these Velcro straps, and then I'm going to go ahead and feed them through the holes in the fabric. Now for this black telescoping wand, I'm going to use this black elastic that I had, and then again, like I showed you earlier, I'm going to use the cardboard box there, or the little smaller oblong cardboard box that was inside the packaging, to house it.
Okay, guys, so this is the layout. This is the belt I was talking about that you guys saw me attach onto the cardboard underneath the fabric. This is one Velcro belt strap, and this is another one. This will house or secure 2 of the attachments, and this one will secure the pet hair removal attachment. This part right here, if you can see this raised part, is actually an elongated rectangular shaped cardboard that I just used to secure the telescoping wand. And then there's, you can hardly see it, but this is actually a Velcro strap that actually holds it in place, because again, this entire part right here is going to be actually hung on the wall, and you can see where I've attached grommets in the corners.
Believe it or not, before the big C, I was going to do a big project with a bunch of zippers like this size that I bought. I chickened out. I remembered these zippers when doing this project. Don't go out and buy zippers for this project. If you have an old coat that you cannot give to someone because it's not in good enough shape, remove it and use it for this project, or use buttons or hooks.
By that, I don't want to cut the zipper. So what I'm going to do is here is the top where the pull is. I'm simply going to fold this back, so it won't be a situation where I have to detach the zipper. I'm just going to fold it back, and then I'm going to sew it on from that point on. And then I'm just going to tuck the rest of the zipper in. Why? Because I want to be able to repurpose this, you guys. I want to be able to reuse this for another project when either one or two things happens. We get another vacuum cleaner or I no longer use this bag.
Because I don't have the greatest sewing machine and this fabric is very thick, I don't want to deal with broken needles. I am going to install my zippers by hand. I am simply going to pin one side from bottom to top of my zipper. I'm going to open it up and then I'm going to lay out, as you see here, the other side of the zipper, pin it and attach it by hand using needle and thread. And I will add, you guys, don't talk about my sewing. I am no seamstress. I am just getting the job done.
Now I'm doing this one-handed and I only just have the other side tacked in. So let's just try this and see if this works, you guys. And you want to make sure not to stick your your zipper pull too far in there. It's not impossible to get it out, but to save yourself some issues or irritation, make sure you have your pull out. Now I had to put my
Camera down.
for a second just to get this started because I did have my zipper pulled too far in, but I just wanted to show you these little chunky, and this one is not metal, it is plastic. So again, you can opt to have metal, but these are doing just fine for what I needed to do. And it goes up and it's not lopsided, which I'm very, even though I pinned it, I wasn't sure that I pinned it well. Now, I don't mind if you don't want your flap of your zipper showing, go further in. Again, I wasn't perfect with it. If you want it to look more like this side right here than this, then do it perfectly. But again, you guys, I need this to serve a purpose. And not only that, I'm trying to give my bag a little bit more leeway because I did opt to go ahead and put the floor wider attachment for the vacuum cleaner inside here. Another thing I want to note is to, even though if you are trying to get closer, your zipper flap closer to the actual outer edge of the fabric, make sure not to get too close because you want that zipper pull to have clearance of your thread, because then you would have to take it out and do it all over again. Okay, guys, everything is in place. Now remember, well, you don't remember, I had intended that I would just put this on the outside of this whole little encapsulated bag. However, it actually fits. So I'm just gonna put it on top. And I can actually stick this under the elastic as well from the belt. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and enclose this envelope of a case for the attachments. Zip up this side and zip up this side. And now let's go ahead and see how it hangs.
Ooh, this was a long one. If you all made it to this part of the video, I appreciate you more than you know. That being said, I want you guys to consider repurposing. This has always been my premise on my channel, to repurpose or reuse things rather than toss them out or run to the store or run to the computer to reorder things. Save money for what you really need it for, and I think now at this point in time in life, it is really important to consider just that. That being said, you guys, please be as safe and as healthy as you possibly can. And again, thank you for your time.